Hey, hello to you all. How are we? Can you see and hear me okay? This is it. Live streaming on an inspirational live for the first time in a great while. But here we are. And gosh, we got a good 12 of you. Sorry about the delay, everybody, the 10-minute extra time delay because of kitty litter duties. But other than that, we are here. We are here now. Yes, this is it. Inspirational live stream. Right, who have we got? Pamela, hello. Oh, what a lovely surprise to have you in here. It's always lovely. Oh, obviously not a howdy or hello without giving you a great big nice long hug. Not without a great big nice long hug. Then the howdy to you. Obviously, so I need to put my chair in more properly because I haven't pulled it in properly enough, but not without a big long hug. But hello to you, my lovely. Blacksmith, hello. Hello, good to see you, good man, Blacksmith. And hello to Basil the cat, too. Hello to you both. AG Aviation, nice to see you. I mean, I'm guessing you were an aviator at one point. Christine, hello. Sea Gypsy, hi. And Maxie, who's Maxie, if I may ask? Please let me know who Maxie is. Is this your brother or your pet or your best friend? Please do let me know if you can. And I'm guessing he's an aviator too. Is Maxie an aviator as well, if he's human? But hello to you. Sorry, what's going on here? No, that'd be better. No. Yes, there we are. That's better now. That's better. Okay. Yeah, there we are. Otherwise, I'm going to fall too far behind. You see me great. Oh, thank you, Anthony. Thanks for telling me. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. Yeah. Good evening, Rexy. Good evening. And Blacksmith, hello to you. Nutmeg, hello to you, my lady. Not to worry. Well, do get on with your work at hand. Dave Spencer. Is there? I haven't seen a Dave Spencer on here. Ultra HH Pay and... Okay, okay. You'd always get a hug from me, Pamela. You always would. You always would. He's one of your friends from school. He likes trains like... Oh, how interesting. From school. Oh, I didn't know you were a schoolboy. I honestly thought you were a qualified aviator. Hailsham is least popular at the moment. We need to get more popular. Yes, every time I've gone through Hailsham, it's very quiet. I always go through Hailsham every time I go to Lawton, and I've seen just how quiet it is. He's asleep by your side. Oh, Pamela, thank you for your friendliness towards Nutmeg. Thank you. Once you get to know Pamela Nutmeg, you cannot help but learn to love her. I'll leave it for you to decide, personally, but once you get to know Pamela, you just cannot help but learn to love her. You know, always, but not without a hug. I wouldn't say hello to you, Nutmeg, without a hug. Not without a hug. But do get on with your important work at hand. You don't want to fall behind, do you? And who else is there? Hi, Sherry. Hello to you, my lovely Sherry. I've appeared on a live stream with Sherry. You know, I've appeared on a live stream with Sherry before, with lovely Miss Southern Belle. We've had a bit of naughty boy, naughty girl banter and some fun. But it's always fun whenever you're in the confines of Belle's content. And, but she's very loving. She's very loving, Belle. And she's a southern lady, just to say. She's very, 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 and quite protective. You know, you can say some things and sometimes she can respond, you know, in quite a protective way, you know. You know, she's very protective, but very, very lovingly protective is how I would regard Belle herself. I mean, Sherry would probably say something fairly similar, but she would obviously have a different view to me on she'll obviously have a different view to me regarding Belle herself, but other than that, I love her dearly. I love her dearly. And who else am I missing? Hi, Betty. Hello. Hello. Almost qualified, couple of years should do it. Oh, good luck with your aviation career. Do hope you make a good career out of aviation. No, I would never say hello without giving you a nice big long hug. Aw. I'd give you a nice long hug, my lovely sea gypsy. Oh, thank you, Nutmeg. Thank you. Thank you. No, always. I'd never say hello without giving you a hug. Samantha! Or as Zab would say, Samantha! Honestly, Zab always goes crazy for you, doesn't he? He will go crazy whenever he sees you. Samantha! Multitasking, working on live streaming. Just hope it doesn't do you in too much and all that, but only do what you can. Emailed them for the second time, so I have to wait for a response. Thank you, Jody. Thank you for your advice to Anthony. Thank you. Thank you. This is true. Not only are puppies naughty, Pamela, but kittens are naughty as well, and all that. Oh, I love her. No, I love her dearly. No, I love her very dearly. Very protective, but she's lovingly protective. Like, say, for example, if you were to share with Belle your diet, for example, your preferred diet, she'd be, well, make sure you have this or that, you know. You don't want to get ill or anything, you know. She always likes to make sure one's well, doesn't she? You know. Oh, thank you, Jody. Thank you. It's always the case with kittens and puppies. They're very naughty when they're very, very young. Oh, and Matt said hello to you, Matt. Hello to Matt in Dorset. Hello. No, Jodie's lovely. Jodie's always lovely, Pamela. Oh, Pamela. Right now, I just want to give you a big, nice, long hug. It's always so wonderful seeing you in here. And hello to Braveheart as well. A big, nice, long hug always. Oh, I love you, Pamela. I love you dearly. I love you almost in the comparable way to I love Pamela Morrow. Right now, Sea Gypsy, I just want to give you, like I want to do right now with lovely Pamela, I just want to give you a nice long hug always. A nice long hug always. Though I may not be the coziest of men because of my small stature and small overall bodily proportions, still, I'd always give you a big, nice long hug. Went live with Star and taught her how to make loom brace. Yes, I've seen in the live, and when I've sometimes partaken in the live. Hopefully, if it's done at a different time zone, the live stream, I will. If it's done in a different time, hopefully you'll see me fully dressed and fully clothed. Whereas every time I've gone live with Belle herself, I've always gone live in my pajamas and dressing gown. I'm happy. Braveheart said hello. Hello, Braveheart. Oh, you're not in Dorset. Oh, I'm so sorry for my silly mistake. So sorry for my silly mistake. Yes, Matt is in here, Jody. Don't worry, all in good time. All in good time, Anthony. Yes, all in good time. Good reminder, Jody. All in good time. There's some news I need to talk to you about. This is about a person you're obviously not going to be familiar of, but today would be his birthday today. Also, it's my friend Alfredo's birthday. He's a new friend of mine, Alfredo. Alfredo in Spain. He's Spanish, Alfredo. And it's his birthday today. But this person who I'm really going to talk to you about I really wish I could show a video of him, but it could get me copyrighted. You know, I mean, I'll probably get a copyright strike if I showed a video featuring him because he was a famous man. But he's sadly, this person I'm talking to you about, he's no longer with us because he died back in, unfortunately, nearly 10 years ago. He died, but today would have been his birthday. He was still alive on this day 10 years ago, but he unfortunately died in 2015 was when this man died, sadly. He didn't live to be particularly old, but he wasn't a very, very young man. So today would be his birthday. No, normally Dorset. Okay. Thank you for telling me so. Matt, wait a moment. Just got to charge my remote charger. Get it charged up because it's out of battery now. And then I'm going to continue with talking about this man who I'm going to share with you all. Thank you, Nutmeg. Hello, Heather. I'm not saying hello without giving you a hug as well. Not without a hug always. Always, you know. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you for your birthday wishes towards Alfredo in his absence. Thank you. And thank you, Jody. And thank you, Heather, for your birthday wishes to Alfredo. Thank you. Yes, both 2 Canada connections in here. Heather and Jody. 2 Canada connections. Oh, sorry. But this man, to continue with it, he was still alive on this day 10 years ago, but then he died in February of 2015. You're sat on Tommy Gardner's sofa. And is Nigel here? Do say hello to Nigel too, as well as Tommy. Please do say hello to Tommy. Yes. But now to continue with this person. Sometime after he left school and left college, happy birthday to Steve next week. Happy birthday to Steve for next week. But getting to this man now, yes, it would be his birthday today, but sometime after he left school and left college, he got in. He did a career as an AAT bookkeeper for a shipping company, which he did from 1960 until 1967. And this is when something astonishing. Here comes the astonishing story as to why he left the shipping company, where they had the bookkeeping firm. In 1967, he entered Tallest Man in Britain contest. And he was the tallest one out of all the tall contestants when he got formally measured up when he took part in it. And and so following the contest, he was crowned as Britain's tallest man in 1967. And after he was crowned Britain's tallest man, it opened the doorway towards a new profession. He held the title for the next nearly 40 years. The next nearly 40 years, he held the title as Britain's tallest man. And this man, his name was Chris Greener, standing at a towering 7'6" of height. He made eventually, after he took part in the height contest for when they were looking for the tallest men in Britain, he made a profession out of his height, namely focusing on promotional work that was focusing greatly on his great height, and as well as occasionally working as an actor, appearing in many films, including that of the David Lynch movie, The Elephant Man. He plays the circus giant. In The Elephant Man. Taking into account his very, very tall 7'6" of height, he was obviously fitting enough for the role. Oh, have you got to go? It was wonderful seeing you here, Sherry. Good clean puppy mess. Naughty puppy. But do Do take care, Sherry. It's wonderful seeing you here, and you're always welcome back here at any time. Happy birthday to the late 7'6" Chris Greener, Pamela. Chris Greener, I've just mentioned the guy. It's freezing cold here too. And I've got 3 jumpers on, believe this or not, Christine. 3 jumpers. Good evening to you, Lissy. Greener, 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 Chris Greener. You're always welcome back anytime, and I'd have you on a live stream any day for whenever you feel like it, Sherry. You know. So, Chris Greener himself, though there are obviously many advantages for his exceptionally great tall height, that it did come at the expensive cost of many difficulties, as you could imagine with any guy or anybody who's 7 foot and over. You know, obviously one of the worst, one of the most things that are something that obviously makes me quite annoyed when tall people get faced with it. The thing that he would obviously get faced with, along with a lot of tall people, was people asking him rude questions about his height. Obviously, not only would it be very annoying to tall people, but it's very rude. But the most popular question tall people, particularly those 7 foot and over, the most popular question they're asked is, what's the weather like up there? You know, is it cold up there? And also people used to ask him, do you drive a car? And he'd say, yes, I can. And they ask him the type, he'd tell them, and they say, well, can you actually get in it? And he'd be, no, I put it everywhere. And then he'd be, there's a door on the side. Or if Greener himself was in a really sarcastic mood, he would say, all I have to do is I have to open the boot, crawl in over the back seat, close the boot after me, and people would believe he could get in a car that way, taking into account his 7'6" of height. He was in the Elephant Man, Chris Greener was. He was in the Elephant Man. Hi, Loco, hello. I know it was snowing earlier today, but we haven't had a blanket of snow as of yet. Snowing. I have family who live in Kent, believe this or not. And so many times, yes, very, very, very many times, yes. That's nippy. That's nippy weather, 22-degree heat weather. That's nippy. If I were you in Texas, Pamela, I'd have my jacket on or my coat. You'd probably see me wearing a shirt, jumper, and a coat, jacket or coat in that sort of weather. But don't know about you, but I would have my jacket on for that, in that weather. So do make something of that, Pamela. Thank you for your friendliness towards Loco. Thank you, Pamela. And thank you, Loco, for your friendliness towards Pamela. Thank you. Who would... Tommy, I have family who live in Kent. I have family who live in Kent, and also they have the Detling Festival of Transport event in Kent. Detling Festival of Transport, Detling's Kent, and I've been going there every year since earlier this year. Frozen cold. Frozen cold. I'm quite well, thank you, Dexy. That's warm to you. That's cold for me. Well, lucky you. Lucky you can handle it, Pamela. You know. Those aren't the only silly questions people like Chris Green or other tall people would be questioned about. There would obviously be quite a few more silly or rude questions people of his height would be asked. But the good advantage was, but the main thing he did was he never took his title for granted, Chris Greener did. And when he lost his titling as Britain's tallest man, when he lost his titling, he was when he lost his titling, he was like, you know, it had to come sooner or later. Is that, you know, eventually someone's going to come along and knock me off my perch. He never took it for granted, and he was never bothered about losing his title. as Britain's tallest man. Oh, gosh, that's surprising. It must be frozen cold where you are. Hello to you at Sparkle Luna. Have I heard from you before, but nice to see you on here. No, not really, no. Much needed rain. Sorry, wait a moment, I need to check something. Oh, sorry about that, sorry. Go down. Yes. But he still did a few promotional work. He didn't retire straight away after he lost his title as Britain's tallest man, Chris Greener. He still had people wanting to see him for, photographs and things for promotional shots and all that. But I think he did retire about a few years before he died, and eventually, I think it was sometime after his 70th birthday, Chris Greener himself began struggling with his health eventually. And because he was only 71 when he sadly died. Poor Chris. Who didn't, and he didn't look anywhere near old enough to being in his 70s at the time of his death. Certainly in his 60s, or at the time when it was nearly 40 years into being Britain's tallest man. He was a handsome man, in fact, Chris Greener himself. Even though he was fully grey before he died, he was still a handsome man. It never stopped him looking handsome. And he was a very nice man. And at the time when he lost his title as Britain's tallest man, his agent felt very upset for Chris himself, because he said, he was like, I feel a little bit upset for Chris losing his title as Britain's tallest man in a way, because he's such a nice chap. He was a very, very nice man, in fact. He was regarded as a gentle giant who was loved dearly, which was something his best friend's wife said about him, that he was a gentle giant who was loved dearly, and all that. Hello to Clappy Dem Cheeks. Hello to you. We know you're not a troll, do be assured, because you're subscribed. It's not very old, 71, and that was the age he was when he died, Chris Greener. It's really not very old. It's really dropping here in England too, nutmeg, weather-wise. It's really dropping down here too. But do be nice to our nutmeg, please, because nutmeg deals every single day with poor health, and we must be kind and show some sensitivity towards those who are living every single day with debilitating poor health. This is true in a few bits and pieces, Pamela, yes. Oh, Nigel told you to tune in. And thank you for telling me you've known Tommy and Matt for years. I wouldn't have thought you were a troll, because it's subscriber-only mode that I've put it on here. Oh, that's far too cold. That's just unsustainably far too cold, 1 degree. That's just unsustainably far too cold. Much too cold. Ringer Mikey, yo, hello. Yes. But yes, and one thing that was astonishing at the time of Chris Greener's death, I mean, after his death, at the time of his funeral, it took 8 pallbearers to carry his casket coffin, because his casket coffin was 7 feet 10 inches in length. And because he was a very heavy man, as you could imagine, taking into account his height, you know, the coffin had to have been especially made for him. And actually, years before he died, he said he wouldn't mind if somebody just broke his legs if they couldn't get a coffin long enough for him at the time of his death. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you for your kindly sensitivity towards nutmeg. And Joy, hello. You missed the news, but hello to you. And oh gosh, cold. Cold, 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 cold. 1 degree is mild. No, it's not. That's frozen cold. That's nothing but frozen cold. 1 degree weather. Too cold and not in the slightest mild. Well, lucky you, it's mild to you, nutmeg. Lucky git. Excuse the naughtiness. Yes. But there we are. There we are. That's the story of the late Chris Greener, formerly Britain's tallest man. And now to share something interesting. Oh, shit. Oh, gosh, your house is frozen, not surprised. Busy decorating for Thanksgiving. Oh, how lovely. How lovely learning of this. How interesting that there's a cruise to Nova Scotia from Boston. How interesting. Well, I would advise against you going on a cruise, personally speaking, Nutmeg, even though I'd let you assess the risk for yourself, because obviously with your poor health, it could be risky for you to go on a cruise. Been raining all week, yes, yes. Oh, gosh, that would be a wet week for you. Thank you, Jody, thank you. New subscriber from I think you meant to say America. Yeah. Christine, hello. I'm not saying hello to you without a hug. Not without a hug. Hello to you. How wonderful. How wonderful, Lannings. You brought your street organ. How lovely. Thank you for telling me, Clappe. Thank you. Right, I'm just going to show something to all of you. Be careful if you're doing it, Nutmeg. Be careful if you're doing it. Started throwing your turkey today for Thanksgiving. We've got 2 Christines in here. I know quite a few Christines. Nutmeg is Massachusetts gypsy. Now, just to tell all of you, if you want to know who this guy is, the very, very tall man in the grey-coloured suit and the large size 17 UK feet, which is an 18 Canada-US men's or EU 51 size feet, because he's got the large brogues, as you can see. That is Chris Greener with the grey hair. He's the tall man with the grey hair, and those men are average-sized people. Those are not dwarves; they're average-sized people, and there he is with the average-sized people. But this was 3 years after he lost his title as Britain's tallest man, and that was him just 2 short months before his 67th birthday, looking quite young for it. Only looking about 49 or 50, in my opinion, but I'll leave it for you to decide. But the picture's quite far, but that was Chris Greener himself. But maybe if I show it on a different software, the picture, maybe you'd see it better. Right. Oh, got it. Yeah, now I got it better. If I can get it up. That, yeah, was Chris Greener when he just 2 short months before his 67th birthday. And a taller man called Neil Fingleton, who he took over his title, and he at 7'7.5", he took over the title from Chris Greener himself. Pammy, that's what your family calls you. Your grandkids call you Grammy. Oh, I imagine you get lots of hugs when they say Pammy, Grammy, Pammy, and then just the great big hugs and cuddles and things. It's like a giant compared to you. The misconstrued Capri, but are you tall for height, if I may ask? But that was Chris Greener. But do share your thoughts on him just 2 short months shy of turning 67. I mean, I don't know about you, but could you imagine any man looking as young as that, despite having the grey hair and all that? I mean, sometimes I can't get over. Sometimes I can't I couldn't get over how young he looked. I'm just going to zoom out, but to zoom out, but this overall, this is what 7'6" looks like with some average sized people. Tall guy. Almost little person, 5'2". Are you a male or a female, if I may ask? Do let me know. He's hot, though. he was a handsome man. He was a very handsome man, Chris Greener. I would say that for sure. And I need to show a picture of him just about a year or just under 2 years, I think, before he died. If I could find it, that is. No. No. Sorry, I got it wrong. Oh, you're a female. Okay, thank you for telling me so. You've said before, Sea Gypsy, you've said before. Oh, gosh, wow. Oh, wow. And to share, if I can get it up closely, this was Chris Greener about probably about less than 2 years before he died. And that was him when he was around about 69 or 7, about 69 there. And with the misconstrued Capri saying he's hot, well, if I could get the picture up closer, I mean, could you imagine any man looking like that at almost 70? Can you imagine that? At almost 70. One hell of a handsome man for roughly almost 70. And there is an actor. He lives in the United States of America. Obviously, all of you would be familiar of him. He's actually old. He was actually a year older than Chris Greener himself, and he's still alive, by the way. He's 82 now, and he is a handsome man. Probably looking about 59, in my opinion. Not Chris, but the actor. Looking at him is hard to believe. But this is what Chris Greener would have looked like in his later years. And that's some children with him. with him. with some rulers and things put on him and all that. That's him with some children. This is what some little young children would look like, stood with him on his 7'6" frame. Though he was about 7'5" before he died. Well, when you get older, you shrink. Lol. Oh, thank you. You think who do you think looked adorable, if I may ask? If I may ask the misconstrued Capri, who do you think looked adorable, Chris or the young children? I mean, even though, well, if you see it more closely, you'll probably make a better opinion. But even though you did think of him as hot, I don't think I could go as far as thinking of him as hot but handsome, despite being so extremely tall, that is. Oh, God. You think I look hot? Oh, gosh. How lovely. Thank you for sharing this to Hailey, Sea Gypsy. And there's another Chris Greener picture I'm going to show. And this was about, it was in 2010, a couple of months shy of his 67th birthday. Oh, Capri. Oh, thank you, Capri. Oh, sorry, Capri. Capri, okay. Capri. Our lovely lady Capri. He's not with us now. He died, sadly, Chris Greener, but I agree. He did have a lovely smile. I totally agree. And that was Chris Greener, a couple of months short of his actually I'll get the picture up more closely. This here was Chris Greener. This was Chris Greener here, just a couple of months shy of his 67th birthday. Yeah. Slightly different looking one, but oh gosh, you've got lots of hospital appointments. Oh my goodness. Joy, that's a hard thing to contemplate too. Capri is certainly easier. Well shared. How wonderful learning that your dearly loved late wife was very, very clever, blacksmith. How wonderful learning of this. Oh, thank you, Jodie. Jodie, thank you for having Joy's back. We always have Joy's back, don't we? You know? And Isabella, hello to you, Isabella. Hello to you. I think I'm going to zoom out. But if one could, but to share something, a fairly demonstrative point, this is the difference between 7'6" and an average sized person, if one can so visibly see in the picture. The difference between a person of average height compared to a 7'6" man and all that, you know. That's the real surprising visible difference, as one could very likely so see and all that. A wee fighter. At least you're good fighting through the worst of your ill health ordeal, Jodie. Oh, no, Joy, sorry. Thank you, Jodie. Thank you for your friendliness towards Isabella. Isabella is a fantastic YouTuber, and she's a cat owner. So, mods, if you can, please do put the link to Isabella's channel, if you can. I would certainly recommend Isabella's channel, big time, 100%. I totally agree with you. Yes, I really completely, totally agree with you on that. How interesting. How interesting learning of this, Nutmeg. How very interesting. He dressed very, I totally agree. No, I could imagine. Not only that, but he would have very likely had to have custom-made shoes because he had a whopping size 17 UK feet, Pamela. And if you want to know what a 17 UK is, that's an 18 Canada US men's or an EU 51. But it's not as big as Shaq, on the other hand, which is a whopping size 22. 22, even though he was a good 5 inches shorter than that of the late Chris Greener. But obviously bigger for size, huge as he is, Shaq. But yes, but thank you. No, I totally agree with you. I certainly totally agree. He was very well dressed. That's it. That's the channel. But thank you, Jody. Thank you. I mean, for those of you who want to go over to Isabella's channel, I recommend you go over. And, well, sorry, wait a moment. Wait a moment. Waity, ho. Max. Oh, Max. Is that Maxi? I forget the surname now. I need to check. Maxi. I know the Maxi. Maxi. I'm trying to remember his last name. Oh, I know who you mean now. Is this Maxi Muddy you're referring to? Maxi Muddy. Oh, yes, Maxi Muddy. Yes, Maxi Muddy. Yes, I know the guy. I know the man well. I know him. He's commented on my channel recently. Maxi Muddy. How interesting and how wonderful. Yes. No, it's always a fascinating and enlightening story hearing about it, Nutmeg, by and large, to tell oneself of things. And here's another picture I'm going to show. It's going to be one more Chris Greener picture, and then, no, two more, and then that's it about Chris Greener for a live stream. And then we're going to talk about other things and share some other interesting things. I mean, I don't know if this picture's going to come up very well, but I can certainly sure well try. Accidentally fat-fingered something. Not to worry, we make mistakes. Nutmeg, but don't fall behind on your work, Nutmeg. Don't fall behind on your work. That's the last thing you'd want. More the artist type. How lovely, see, Gypsy. How lovely. And this was Chris Greener when he was aged 61 and a half years of age. And that's him. I think it was the mayor of either Suffolk or Norfolk, former mayor of Suffolk or Norfolk. I don't know who the lady was. I'm guessing it's the wife of the mayor. I don't know. But if one sees here, this is what 7'6" would look like, but with two average-sized people. And that was nearly 10 years before he died. And then a handsome 61 and a half. And all that. So, I mean, obviously one could see quite visibly here what 7'6" would look like with average-sized people. Oh, thank you, Pamela. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You like the zipper at the neck. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Pamela, right now, I just want to give you a big, nice, long hug. I just want to give you a great, big, nice, long hug always. Oh, well, obviously sending you one right now. I mean, well, I think the problem with me is that if I gave you a hug, I probably wouldn't want to let go. No, I love you, Pamela. I love you dearly. I probably have the same problem your grandchildren would probably have, which is once they give you a hug, they wouldn't want to let go. Oh. There's nothing better than giving. There's nothing better than giving our friends lots of hugs, isn't there? Especially if our friend's either a tall, strong, cuddly lady or a tall, strong, cuddly man, and all that. Short on likes. Thank you for the reminder. Oh, thank you, Catherine. You said Chris was cute at 61. Oh, thank you. I think if he was still alive, I think he'd value your compliment. Affirmative. Right, got to get this picture off now. And I'm going to show an interesting one. You love hugs, but you're short and fluffy. In what way are you fluffy, Capri, if I may ask? I mean, we'd always. But the good thing is, as small thing as you are, we can always protectively look out for you. And what I also mean by protectively looking out for you, the taller ones would be able to give you a nice long protective hug more easily. That's the positive about being the small thing. The taller ones would just be able to hug you protectively, with hand held on the back of your head and the other hand wrapped round the shoulder part of your body, giving you a hug. That's the positive thing about being a small thing, and we do that with you, Capri. We do that with you. We all look out for our friends here. We all have different talents. You're a jeweler by trade, and you restore and renovate furniture and old junk. This is very true, C. Gypsy. We are all different. We all have different talents. You are totally right about that. And I completely, totally agree with you on that. We all have different talents. We all have different abilities. That's just the thing that ingrains us in humanity as truth has things. Fluffy means fat where you're from. Do be careful, Capri. Please do be careful. But where exactly are you located, Capri? Because I wouldn't think you're United Kingdom based. But we have to be careful. We do have to be more careful talking about weight, Capri. Just to say, we've got to be more careful talking about weight. And why I say more careful, because I have bantered about weight. And the time when I really started bantering about weight was after I properly befriended Shappa, because I told him what my weight was, and then he chucked something at me, and then within months later I chucked something back at him, and it was like a revolving door going backwards and forwards, bantering about our weight. But here comes the real problem when it really begins. The real problem was, Capri, was I ended up doing it to other people, bantering about their weight and saying. And when I said, and if anybody told me what their weight was to me, I would come up with all sorts of very, very rude and very naughty nicknames to them. It was always something that could mean something relating to their size or in regard to their size, and then it would be git afterwards. So it would have been. Actually, do you know what? I'll say what they were, and I'm not proud of it. I'm really not. No, 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 no. I mean, Capri, I'm really not proud of it. To explain something quite precise on what I mean by the naughty and rude nicknames I would have for people in regard to their size if they told me. The very first thing was petite git plus. If anybody weighed less than 126 pounds, it was And then it's petite git for anyone in the 126 to 140 pound range. And then it was skinny git for the 140 to 160 pound range. That would have been skinny git. And then 160 to 200 pounds would have been big git. 200 to 252 pounds would have been huge git, and anything more than 252 pounds was huge git plus. And to be honest with you, Capri, I'm really not proud of it. I'm really not, because I was taking it too far with other. I took it too far to the point where I did it to other people. It was namely Shepard and I who did it, because he'd refer to me as a skinny git, and then within months later I'd refer to him as a huge git. And it just was a revolving door going back and forward, to the point where I started doing it with other people, even ladies. And there was a lady who I very, very greatly offended, and actually it cost me a friendship with her. It did cost me a friendship, and it upset one of my friends very, very greatly. But surprisingly enough, she came onto the next live stream anyway, and I was like, what are you doing here? And because, she was upset with me, and she saw me upset, but it was only months later when she saw me apologizing for my very, very foul wrongdoing. She said to me months later that she cried the whole way through my apology because she was worried she'd caused me hurt and upset, when the truth is she did not cause me hurt and upset. Why I was so upset was because I was very, very guilty and extremely remorseful for my actions, and I really cared about what happened. No, I really did care about what happened. And I do get very upset if I'm that guilty, just to say, Capri. A nice long hug to you always, Pamela. Always a nice, big, nice long hug, always. Oh, but thank you for saying. Were you very kind too, Pamela? No, don't worry, you didn't know. You didn't know, that's why I was telling you. Well, I finished all I had to share. There's some technological things I'm completely hopeless at too, C. Gypsy. I would imagine restoring older furniture is not only pretty, but it's astonishing. Totally agree, Jodie. Oh, see, right now, see, Gypsy, I just want to give you a big, nice, long hug. Thank you for your kindness towards Jodie. Thank you. I think the only thing you'd receive from Jodie herself is a nice, long hug from her. Oh, okay. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. I'm afraid I'm not big boned. No, I'm not big boned. Hence me being a keen, avid event attendant and going out for a nice walk and things. I too try and live. I do live life. It's not that difficult, actually, see, Gypsy. It's really not difficult living life away from the internet. It's really not. Doing a puzzle, going out on a nature walk, reading a book. I do read quite a bit. Certainly a lot of my railway books and things. Um, it's actually not hard living life away from the internet. It's really not hard. Really? Really? Your great aunts once called you sturdy. Oof. I really hope she wasn't shaming you for your size. No, really, Pamela, I hope she was not shaming you for your size. And actually, about 4 times I've actually been found to have fat-shamed people when doing a live stream, talking about certain people's sizes. It's happened to me 4 times, being found in the wrong for fat-shaming, just to say. So, I do hope your great aunt had not fat-shamed you for saying you're sturdy. But one more thing regarding that, I'm afraid I am not big-boned, and unfortunately I'm not sturdy either. If anything, I'm small-statured, as is my mother too. You know, but there we are. But I've just got to be very, very careful talking about those things. Oh, Jodie, you didn't have to, but thank you. Thank you all the same. I love hugs too. No, I really do. No. Always, see, Gypsy, will you always get a big, nice, long hug from me? I'd certainly be able to give you a protective one. Since you're a little shorter than I, see, Gypsy, I'd certainly be able to give you a nice, long, protective hug. And what I mean by a nice, long, protective hug is putting your hand, well, my hand on the back of your head and the other arm wrapped round the shoulder area. That's what I'd be able to do to you, because I'm a little taller. But there we are. There we have things. You live in a 130-year-old Victorian house. Oh, no, those houses are enchanted. Those houses, Nutmeg, are enchanted. No, they're wonderfully enchanted places. Victorian houses, or any house that's centuries old, they're enchanted, those places. As do I. No, I love I love all old things too, see, Gypsy. I love all old things, furniture, cars, music. I love old music. There's a particular old song I'd recommend to you, see, Gypsy. Have you ever listened to the 1926 song, Keep Right On to the End of the Road, sung by the late Sir Harry Lauder? You know, I would recommend the song Keep Right On to the End of the Road, see, Gypsy, even though it's nearly 100 years old. And all that. I know, Nutmeg, yes, I know. That's the real sinister thing in this day and age. They really don't make things of quality now. I know. I totally agree. I totally agree. And this shirt, this wasn't bought from the large fashion branded shops. This was bought from a charity shop, this shirt. You know, it's got good old original originality to it, and I prefer those ones to complete full-blown modern day and all that. You live in a log cabin in the woods. How interesting, Pamela. No, I totally agree with you, see, Gypsy. I totally agree with you on that. No, Victorian homes, not only are they beautiful, but they've got a very picturesque sight when you're standing out in the street, out across the road to it, or on the street to it. And inside, not only are they beautiful, but the interior walkthrough of Victorian homes, not only are they enchanting, but, you know, they're astonishingly wondrous. It's like a studio tour, except only with something extremely interesting and wonderfully enchanted. You don't mean me? Oh, okay, thank you. Just that we thought to say that for people. Be careful, Christine, because I really don't want to get... I really... No, I really do not want to be seen in the fat shaming wrong again. No, really, Christine, I do not want to be found in the fat shaming wrong again. So please be careful. Please be careful. And actually, it was actually very difficult to drive myself away from weight bantering. Even though I described it as weight bantering, personally speaking, it is in fact fat shaming. So, you know, so I've really, and it was actually very hard to get away from that. So please be careful, please. I do beg you, Christine, I do beg you. I beg yourself and Clyde to be careful, but I understand your point. Totally agree with you, see, Gypsy, totally agree. You are slender but muscular. How would one describe me? I don't know if one would describe me as slender. I mean, 5'8", 154 pounds. It's not what one would describe petite, but it's not. One wouldn't describe it as petite, but it's sort of on the fairly skinny, on the skinny to slim side. So I don't know if one could say that's slender, really. But interesting learning you're muscular. Unfortunately, I'm not muscular, but it doesn't bother me. I'm happy being a small thing. It's just the way I was built, being a small thing. I mean, my mother's never been muscular, and I've never been muscular, and I'm happy with that. As do I. I do too, see, Gypsy. I do as well. Martin Minter. Hello to you, Martin. Hello. Thank you. How lovely learning of this. How lovely. Oh, gosh. Oh, that's really bad. No, that's terrible. That's terrible. Purchasing up historic Victorian houses just to tear them down for multi-housing apartments. That's terrible. That's very terrible. Ta-ta for now, Christine. Ta-ta for now. I could imagine, Pamela. I could imagine. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you for your friendliness towards Christine. Thank you. Take care of Clyde too, Christine. Take care of Clyde the cat as well. You know, but that is terrible. That's terrible. That's really well and true. Not only is that terrible, but it's greatly saddening that they're doing that. I agree, Blacksmith. Not only is it disgusting, but it's greatly saddening too. And not to mention disgustingly awful, you know. We should preserve Victorian homes and the valuable history they provide, not tear them up or rip them down and all that. The tear downs of historic buildings are happening in a lot of cities and towns, all in the name of affordable housing. I know, and it's awful. Not only is it awful, it's extremely bad. Well, I don't know about extremely bad, but it's disgustingly awful and greatly saddening. It's greatly saddening. Yes, look after the Victorian homes. Yes, look after the Victorian homes. Yes. They do it in a lot of places. I know. I know. Hello to you. Hello to you. Now, as most of you know, party's over for event attending. The party's over now. You know, the party's over now, like the Noel Coward wartime song. I know this only too well, Nutmeg. Very, very greatly saddening and disgustingly awful. And I know about this only too well. You have dual citizenship in Australia. How interesting. And they do it. I know. Very, very saddening. Very, very saddening. I'm over 1 hour now. But it's not time to finish yet. But as all of you know, it is merely parties over for event attending now. It's merely parties over. But I may very possibly be having my final 2024 event on the third Sunday of December, hopefully, if I can go. And it's a Christmas event. It will be a Christmas event I'm to be going to. Well, if I can go, I'm hoping I can go. But it was the model rail I couldn't go because it wasn't practical in the end, because I had a family meal to go to and things. You know? So, but I'm hoping I don't miss this event. And then after that, I've got to wait until... Actually, I won't need to wait as long as I initially thought in terms of the 2025 event. Once that event's done and come 2025, it'll be time to list out all the 2025 events I'm to be expecting and hoping, but obviously it's not always a definite if I can go, because there are some events I had missed attending this year, because event attending can be a bit of a hit and miss, independent of what's on your availabilities and stuff. And of course, certain commitments, obviously commitments being a main prime factor. Health, obviously, most vitally importantly, independence of one's health. And really take into account the distance as to how far I need to go or not. But most of the events I'm known to generally, by and large, attend are mostly within the Sussex counties or Kent counties sometimes in a few bits and pieces. Although there was a Surrey event I attended, which was the Brooklands Museum, which is Weybridge, Surrey, by the way. Oh, thank you. Oh, in what way am I a cutie? Well, thank you, Capri. Thank you. Love Christmas. I love Christmas too, but in terms of me wanting to celebrate Christmas, I'm less certain on that now. You know, and why I'm less certain on that was because something hastening happened. 2 Christmases, once every 2 years, hastening things happened, and it hastened me to the point where it's nearly put me off wanting to celebrate Christmas. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Christmas and I love to celebrate it, but because of what happened twice in 2021 and 2023 in the run-up to Christmas, I found it greatly hastening. And the experience and the stressful experience of it, I found it greatly hastening. You know. And it's only just made me think all the more that just more and more people get very, very ill every winter now, more so than it's ever happened before. Very, very hastening thing to contemplate, true, and all that. This country was built by men in overalls and distorted by men in suits. You're completely right, Blacksmith. I 100% agree with you big time. And I was with Pamela, lovely Pamela. I just want to hug you tightly. After all, there's nothing better than embracing a nice, long, tightly handheld hug with a tall, strong, cuddly lady. And obviously you being one of them. I just want a big, nice, long hug from you right now, Pamela. Thank you for the kindly compliments. Thank you. It's called global. It's because the global elite are investing so much money into real estate, driving up the cost of housing everywhere in the world. It's property speculate. Totally agree with you. Thank you, Lissy. Thank you. Not the most interesting of trains. They could do with a nicer look than what they've currently got. I think they've overdone the look, in my opinion. Though it's good for viewership if you were to see it out rail train spotting, but the real problem is what they look like, which lacks appeal, in my opinion. It has a lacking appeal to the look that they have. And no, that's just my opinion of it, you know. Kent, the Garden of England. True right. Very right. And Kent is where my family lives. Kent is where my family is located, Blacksmith. And my parents grew up in Kent. So Kent is like a second home to me. It's like my second home county, County Kent. The global rich investing into real estate is the reason why prices of housing is going up. But then they say we have to build more to bring the cost of housing down. I don't know if building more housing can keep up in this day and age. I don't know if it can or not. But one thing I'm totally against is knocking over Victorian buildings or Victorian houses. Knocking over historic Historian housing is not only well and truly cruel, but it's utterly disgustingly awful. but you're completely right in every way. I mean, I don't know if it will be our lifetime before there's enough housing in our home country, having seen for now too long not enough housing being built, or not going far enough, the price of housing going down enough. I don't know if it's going to be my lifetime or our lifetime before we can see real change happening in the housing property market and all that. You came from Essex before you came to Gloucestershire. How interesting. Oh, oh, see, Gypsy, that is visibly moving. That's very visibly moving. Thank you. Don't think I could have heard anything more visibly moving than that in all my life. I once received that compliment this time last year, see, Gypsy. A lovely, lovely lady said this to me. You know, it was Michelle Pope. I mean, such a lovingly, wonderful, friendly lady. She's very, very well respected and hugely valued within Graham and Fiona's community. And certainly, of course, Trevor's community too. I mean, no, she once said to me that I was the epitome of a true gentleman through and through. And I mean, and said, and that's certainly refreshing in this day and age. I read the comment. It was this time last year. I remember vividly. Sometimes I'm still in tears. And even now, I get goosebumps from that moment. I read the very reply after I received it. And my face, tears were just streaming down my face the moment I read it. And once I let out enough tears streaming down my face as I read what Michelle said to me. Michelle Pope, that is, by the way. I replied to her, but I was visibly moved by what she said to me. And to tell you why, there was only one person who I could only truly depict as the epitome of a true gentleman through and through, and that was nobody other than my wonderful late grandfather Edmund, who very sadly passed away in February of 2020, aged only 73 when he died due to thrombocythemia and an over 20-year battle with poor health. But the poor health wasn't his cause of death. It was the thrombocythemia, which was, if anything, it was the final nail in the coffin for his general overall poor health. Interesting learning you came from Sussex originally, but came to Gloucestershire. Oh, Nudgemeg, I love you. I love you, Nudgemeg. Yes, quite a good few times. I go through Tunbridge every time I go to Tenterden bus rally. Oh, you're so lovely, C. Gypsy. You really are. They are building houses in the villages at sinister amount of money, extortionately sinister prices. I don't see anything change anytime soon because there's real corruption in the purchase of property land. Then the purchase of land, there's greed and corruption in it. There's complete greed in it. And unless something changes drastically, hopefully we'll see a change in our lifetime. But there's just clearly no signs of change regarding the pricing of housing, and of course regarding the greed of buying up property land and things. I mean, I wish I could say there needs to be change regarding policies regarding those sorts of things, but to be honest with you, In the same way that medicinal conventional medicinal drugs is no longer the answer, in the same way that conventional medicinal drugs is no longer the answer, with helping cure people from poor health and illnesses, and only just for pharmaceutical companies to make money, which is completely true, and I completely agree with Nutmeg, who said this once before, and I totally agree with that. And another thing I'd say is no longer the answer anymore is politics trying to make things better for the citizens and people of their country, relying on politics, to improve things for the country, to improve things with effectively running the country and improving people's lives, or improving things to make things better for the citizens of the people they represent, is unfortunately no longer the answer. In the same way, conventional medicinal drugs is no longer the answer to try and make people fully cured and better from ill health and certain illnesses. And why I say that regarding politics is because of very, 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 very rife corruption, to the point where they just don't represent the people. They just represent themselves and just push on nothing but a shit show for the publicly for the citizens, representing no morals or values for representing their people or making things better for their people. That's why I'd say it's no longer the answer to relying on politics. Is now no longer the answer to help improve things for the citizens of their people in their country. I don't see any change to it in my lifetime. To be honest with you, I don't think I'll ever move out, because there's just little to no sign of progress with lowering house pricing now, or sufficient supply of house pricing and all that, I know. Oh gosh, wow. That is something. Oh no, it's just not. Yes. But you will hear coordinated narrative by politicians and lobbyists who are all tied to the real estate industry that we must build more high density. To be honest with you, Nutmeg, politics is no longer the answer. To tell you something, Nutmeg, politics is no longer the answer to make things better for the citizens of their home country. In the same way that you said that in the same way that conventional medicinal drugs to help cure ill health and certain illnesses is no longer the answer. It's the same thing. It's more or less the same thing in that way, That's what I describe it as. I mean, not everybody's going to agree with me on that, but that is certainly something I would completely say for sure on that, in that regard. Prime Minister, good way to describe a Prime Minister, Jodie. Completely good way to describe a Prime Minister, but oh gosh. I know. It's rife corruption when talking about those sorts of things. Very, very, very rife corruption. World Economic Forum. Good advice, Blacksmith. Battling this on a local level. Awful. Well, one more thing before we go. I'm going to show something. But, the party's over now for event attending. But at least there's 2025, and I haven't got as long to wait. But then after the first event for 2025, should I go? After that event, it's going to. I would have. I think I've got a roughly 2 months wait until the next event or so, or unless something pops up around the corner, shortly before that, or sometime before that, then. Or otherwise, or otherwise there'll be an event before that. But yes, but I've got quite a while to wait for the Christmas event, should I go, but it's nearly party's over for event attending. Think we've done the last mile on politics now, Nutmeg, but one more thing to say regarding it. I would advise to any of you, don't rely on politics to make things better for your home country or for the city. One advice I would say is don't rely on politics or think politics is the answer to improve things with effectively running the country or improve things for the citizens of your home country, because it's no longer the answer to improve things for the citizens of their home country or to make things better better effectively running the country. In the same way that conventional medicine, conventional medicinal drugs is no longer the answer to helping people feel better or to cure people of ill health and certain illnesses, Oh, have you got to go? Ta-ta for now, Sea Gypsy. I'm not, there's no goodbyes without giving you a big hug, Sea Gypsy. No good, I wouldn't say goodbye without giving you a big hug, a big, nice, long hug. Feeling overpeopled is why your husband and yourself move, yeah. Conventional medicinal drugs, not only does it make people worse off with certain side effects, with it being no longer the answer to making feel better, not only does it prolong ill effects of ill health, but or what worsen side effects and all that, it's no longer the answer in the way politics is no longer the answer, making people improving people's lives, their citizens' lives in their home country, or effectively running the country. It's no longer the answer for politics in that regard. Very, very sad as it may sound, this is the point we've got to now in this day and age, And can I share an example as to why conventional medicinal drugs is no longer the answer to make people feel better? Not only does it make huge shed loads of profits to pharmaceutical companies on a disgustingly sinister noting, but my late grandfather, after he was diagnosed with thrombocythemia, he was prescribed with medicinal. Not when he was prescribed with medicinal drugs, to which many doctors believed which wouldn't make him get better but stop his condition getting worse, because he wasn't going to get better from it. But he was originally never diagnosed with it terminally. But what happened was when he undertook the medicinal drugs, it caused far, far worse side effects to his health, and it just took an adverse toll on his health. It took an adverse toll on his health, the medicinal drugs, the conventional medicine he took for it. And I mean, when I say it took a toll on his health, it took a toll on his health to the point where he had a huge weight loss, a huge weight loss, and he deteriorated physically to the point where he could no longer do long walks about 7 months or so before he died. Yeah, and obviously he lost a lot of weight to the point where he only weighed 106 pounds just 6 months before he died, and also made him generally very, very much more tired than he otherwise normally would. The thrombocythemia and the medicinal drugs he took for it was the final nail in the coffin for what was his overall poor health he'd been battling over 20 years prior to his formal thrombocythemia diagnosis. Ta-ta for now, Pamela, if you're going. Ta-ta for now. I would never say goodbye without giving you a big hug. Ta-ta for now. Nice long hugs to you always, see, Gypsy? Yes, yes. I've never been so angry with not only the United Kingdom, but the world. The state of the world, I've not only have I ever been more angry, but I've never felt very bitter about it. You know, I'd never been more embittered or more angry with the state of the world, let alone my home country, or the United States of America, and Canada, not to mention, you know. I know, Nutmeg, I know that only too well, but I think we've done now. I've shared my point as to why politics and conventional medicine is no longer the answer to many things. I've shared my point on that, and I think we've done our final mile on that here now. But there we are. But before we go, I'm going to show one more thing, and then that's it. That's completely it. Right. I've got to be very, very quick. This here, this is a picture of me at the Brooklands Museum Easter Classic Car Show event that took place on Easter Saturday of 2024. Easter Saturday was Saturday of the 30th of March 2024, and every Easter Saturday, the Brooklands Museum in Weybridge in Surrey host an annual classic car show event, and that's me inside one of the classic cars there. And it wasn't as big as I thought it would be, but at least it wasn't a small classic mini, because the small classic minis are the hardest. Independence of one's height and weight, the small classic minis are the hardest to get inside and out of. They're the hardest to get inside and out of, small classic minis. This one, it was a little difficult. Not far too difficult, but it was I would have thought it'd be fairly easy to get inside and out of this medium-sized classic car, but how wrong could I have been? At 5'8" and 11 stone, or 154 pounds, alongside retaining size 8 UK feet, which is a 9 US Canada men's or a 10 US Canada women's, or an EU 42, which is its equivalent translating correspondence in that regard. It was a little bit tricky for sufficient footrest, and it was a little tricky to get inside and out, hence lack of headroom there. But other than that, an enchanted classic car. When the owner was very tall, well, the owner was about 6 foot tall, and his father was about 5'9.5", 5'10". So they would have obviously had to be careful getting inside and out of this small classic car. But had I been, say, 5'6" or shorter, and had, say, smaller than size 8 UK feet, I think I would have quite likely had no trouble to get inside and out of it, and had no trouble to get inside and out, or have sufficient footrest and all that. Totally agree, Nutmeg. Totally agree with you there. No, I know. It's Rover. That's it, a Rover. Rover. There you are. Hi, Martin in Ireland. Hello to you. Yes. So it was a little tricky, which was a little disappointing, but because I thought it'd be easy to get inside and out of, but how wrong could I have been? But it was a wonderful classic Rover, and certainly did I enjoy my sightseeing it, and it had when sat inside, a fantastic interior. It was a fantastic interior when looking inside it. Really, a well and truly fantastic interior. And I'm going to show one more picture before I well and truly end things up or finish things up. Right here. I was going to show the other one, but I'm going to show it another time. Or maybe I'll get just about enough time. This was my, this here is my Seafood Motor. That's my Seafood Motorfest 2024 portrait of me inside a classic, an enchanted red classic convertible. That's my portrait there of me in a classic red convertible. At the annual Seafood Motorfest 2024 event. Oh gosh, sorry, Jodie. Yes. My apologies. Thank you for the good, blunt reminder. Thank you. And we're gonna get rid of that for now. I'm gonna, as quickly as a wink, get the last one up, and then that's it. If only that's if I can find it, because I'm going to finish things off in a few short minutes. No. And now this one here, that here is my my Worthing Minis by the Sea 2024 portrait inside a small classic Mini, which was shaped like a mini truck because it had the back of the Mini was rather truck-like, owned by a very funny short little couple, a short lady and a short man who couldn't have been anything more than 5'2", 5'3" between the two of them, and fairly petite statured size-wise. But that was their small classic car. I couldn't easily fit into because I was much taller than the two of them. David would have been an ideal height for it because he's 5'4.5", but they were shorter than David, the couple, but very funny too. And it was in this classic car. I got inside, and the husband, he knelt over towards me on the seat. He knelt over and put his hand out with his keys in his hand, and he said, "You're not going to take that." But that was funny, a funny sight and a good encountering. I know, Nutmeg, yes, I know. Right, I've got to finish things off. Thanks, everybody, all indeed, for watching. Thanks for taking part in the fun of the Foxy's Fun Inspirational Livestream. Goodbye, and may good wishes and happiness be knocking on your doorstep.